said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola.
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My Lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my Lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord. These cases are in court, my Lord. I'm just reminding your Lordship.
My Lord, sorry, my Lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my Lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My Lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My Lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my Lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord. These cases are in court, my Lord. I'm just reminding your Lordship.
My Lord, sorry, my Lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my Lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My Lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My Lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my Lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord. These cases are in court, my Lord. I'm just reminding your Lordship.
My Lord, sorry, my Lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Hello, good evening. Here to Legally Speaking on Blind Radio 101.1 FM and Spectrum TV, channel 136 Star Times. My name is Anthony Ebuk, and it's a very warm evening here on the hills of Ibiakuran. I have with me in the studio a colleague, a legal luminary, and an author, Ekebini Udomo. Ekebini, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Tony. It's always a pleasure to be here.
All right, today we'll be discussing on nothing other than politics. A lot of political matters have arisen. This buying and selling of Forbes, the 100 billion naira perform issues and others. But we try to focus today on the the timetable from INEC. INEC has explained that it will not extend its deadline beyond the 3rd of June 2022 for political parties to conduct and conclude their conventions and primaries for candidates in the various elections. Now, as it stands, the way the primaries or the conventions are spanning out, there's a whole lot of issues that might end up in litigation. So let's see, what's the status of INEC with regards to the conduct of the 2022 election?
Well, thank you. INEC is a creation of law, and the law has given responsibilities to INEC, and one of the responsibilities of INEC is to organize elections for people to be elected into the various political offices in the land, public offices in the land. And therefore, INEC has a very significant role to play in a democracy. And the Electoral Act has given clear mandate to INEC to ensure that things are done within a certain time frame. And so the notice given by INEC to the political parties to ensure that they conduct their primaries on or before a certain date, I think 3rd of June, which is just, I think, barely 1 month from today.
Okay.
That directive from INEC is a directive that is made pursuant to the provisions of the Electoral Act, which has given time frame for the doing of things. And therefore, any political party that is interested in electing candidates for the general election, it is expected that that political party should abide by the timetable of INEC. And election is more or less like pregnancy.
Okay.
And every woman that is pregnant has 9 months to prepare for delivery.
All right.
And I think that the political parties should be well prepared to abide by the timelines, set by INEC and set by the Electoral Act.
All right. Very recently, I have this understanding that PDP has readjusted its timetable to probably ensure that they watch. Now, this is my language. They watch the way the other parties are projecting their candidates. This is a watch me, I watch you game.
Yes.
Are you coming by consensus, or are you producing your candidates by direct primaries or indirect primaries? So everybody is playing the watching game. Now, my worry now is this. If PDP has adjusted its timetable and APC wish to adjust their timetable, can they beat the deadline? We have less than 1 month to go.
Well, I think PDP has adjusted up to either 17th or 18th of this month or something like that.
Okay.
I'm thinking that if APC should wait for PDP before they now adjust again, before they make an adjustment on their own dates, they may be caught by the INEC timeline, the constitutional timeline, and it will be very dangerous, because if you don't present your candidates on time, it means that you don't have candidates for the general election.
Now, I am observing one thing. There's this trend of unsatisfactory performance. Nigeria has that.
On the part of who?
On the part of everybody in Nigeria. We never do things on time. We never have a fixed time. You remember the registration of NIN?
Well, talk for yourself.
Yes, I'm talking for the registration of NIN. For
the
registration of NIN, I think Nigeria has adjusted the deadline for about 9 to 10 to 15 times. And we still extend, right? Now, that same spirit has spilled into the political circles. Everybody assumes or presumes that with a little time, we would shift the timetable. The PDP, the parties have started shifting. Lots of people don't understand the reasoning, will not understand the implication of INEC's 2nd of June.
You see, if you talk about shifting the dates, and you mentioned NIN, I don't think the NIN thing is the same.
Of course, it shouldn't be the same.
As a matter of fact, if Nigeria were to be a country where the citizens are very conscious of their rights, someone ought to have sued the federal government by now over the NIN thing. Now you give a very short deadline and ask that millions of Nigerian citizens should go and register for NIN, and you don't provide the facilities for easy registration. Now, it took the network that I use to give me a call, to go to their substation here, you know, for me to be registered for the NIN. Because every time I went there, the queue was so long and I couldn't wait. I needed to wait the whole day. I had other things to do. So, but I don't think that the situation is the same as that of the electoral process. Yes, NIN could be...
Okay, NIN could be...
Yes, the deadline for NIN could be extended. But the deadline for the electoral process...
Yeah, I understand that following the amendment of the Electoral Act, you know, let's go on a short break.
Okay.
All right, let's go on a short break.
Which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian Police Force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my
this
lord.
an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian Police Force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Hello, you're welcome back to Legally Speaking. We sincerely apologize for that breaking transmission. And before we went on the break, we were discussing the Electoral Act and the role of INEC in the conduct of the primaries running to the elections 2023 in Nigeria. Now, Ekemini, the Electoral Act of 2022 amended a whole lot of things. One of it is that the elections must be conducted at least 300. Everything about the election must be done at least 360 days before the main election. Primaries should be conducted about that time. Now, consequent upon that, INEC amended its own timetable, the initial timetable, to give room for them to be in line with the new timetable. Part of it is that before the end of the 3rd or 4th of May, all primaries should have been
June.
conducted.
June.
Or June, I mean to say. All primaries ought to have been conducted. And now, there's a risk playing out. Primaries, the conduct of a primary included resolution of all outstanding issues. So it's not just to conduct, but also resolve. Now, we are seeing a picture, a hazy picture, which includes the, of course we'll come to that, the ASU, students wanting to come to strike, to demonstrate, to ensure that elections are not, these nominations are not done within the period set by INEC, hoping to cause a constitutional crisis, right? So let's see, what's your take?
Well, the time right now is very slim, and there's no room for any political party to play around or to adjust or to amend or to do anything right now. Any political party that has fixed its dates for the primaries should have it at the back of its mind that because of the timetable given by INEC, these dates are not going to be, I mean, it will not be advisable to adjust these dates, else you get shorted and you don't have candidates for the election. I think what will pain a political party so much is the fact that the political party is registered by INEC, recognized by law, given all the opportunity to present candidates. The political party is desirous of presenting candidates, but because of its own omission or whatever, the political party is unable to have candidates for the election. So it's such that the political party should be careful. If not, they may not be able to have candidates for the election. Now, ASU and the students.
Okay, let's not get there first. Yeah, let's study first on the effect of not conducting the primaries and submitting their names after 3rd of June. Because up to now, we still have parties buying and selling forms, which is not out of place. And people are still jostling to get their delegates list, you know, organized. Now, there was a conference, a convention. Would you call it a convention? No, there was a delegate election recently in Akwa Ibom State. And I saw online a lot of people complaining and calling for a cancellation of that and so on and so forth. I'm imagining that if that complaint gets to the head, there will be a further delay.
Yeah, certainly there will be a further delay if the complaints are taken headlong. And this is a message for political parties to play cautiously. Because if you have to be dragged to court, and let's say an injunction is obtained against the political party, even if the injunction is to last for 7 days by way of interim injunction, it could do a whole lot of havoc to the political party. And therefore, there's need for the political parties to play by their rules. And you know, the funny thing about pre-election matters is the fact that the complaints usually arise from non-application of the rules, the guidelines of the political party.
Failure to follow the
failure to follow the guidelines of the political party. You have your guidelines. Nobody drafted it for you. It wasn't imposed on you by the federal government or by whatever. Guidelines clearly drafted by the political party and considered to be the best and the most suitable for them. So how come you don't respect them? So it's just a wake-up call for the political parties to respect their guidelines.
Now, because I don't want to sound like a doomsday prophet. Having watched the series of things that came out over the weekend, with respect to that nomination, I'm a bit worried. Now, what will happen when the list is compiled eventually and these are supposed to be the delegates? And some people stand up to say, no, 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 no. In my location, in my locality, there was no, we call it nomination. How did you arrive at this list? And if these are the list of people that you say were nominated, then we should have been carried along. You know, and that can really cause a whole lot, a breakdown in the...
It's a very serious matter. It's a very, very serious matter. In fact, it is at the bottom. It is like the
root.
Foundation.
Yeah,
yes,
the root.
root.
Because that's where the delegates were picked from.
Yes. And so the guidelines of every political party requires that the delegates should emerge through a democratic process. I've seen the guidelines of APC, I've seen the guidelines of PDP, at least the two major political parties in the country. They all, you know, require that the nomination, the emergence of the delegates, the ad hoc delegates and so on, should come through a democratic process. And there is no democracy if names are written from somewhere and then presented as though those are the names of the persons that we elected at the World Congresses. There is no democracy if names are written from maybe Kafanchang and sent to Akwa Ibom as though those are the names of the delegates of the political parties. And this is also applicable to all the political parties. So when you gamble with this, you are toying with the election that you're about moving into. Don't forget that this is why Rivers State did not have candidates.
Yeah, that's
in the last
exactly where I
election.
want to get to. Now, we will have the listeners join the conversation by 5:30 Nigerian time. The numbers to call will be 090-222-31011. The alternative number will be 081-762-48565. By 4 minutes time, the phone lines will be open. We will not go on another break, so you just call in when the time is right. Yeah, can we go on?
Yeah, so you remember that about 3 years ago or 4 years ago, it started from World Congresses in Rivers State. Names were imposed, and some aggrieved members of APC like Magnus Abe and the rest, they went to court and said they are challenging the list that was used for everything that followed, and the court upheld it. They went up to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal still upheld it and said that the ad hoc delegates did not emerge through a democratic process. And the rest is history. Rivers State did not have, APC in Rivers State did not have a candidate for the governorship election, which was a very serious thing, against them, what they never expected.
So we are imagining that kind of thing could happen even in a state as peaceful as Akwa Ibom State.
Well, Akwa Ibom should also reflect its peaceful nature. And how do you reflect it? Allow the thing to run smoothly.
The process to run as it ought to be.
That's it. Allow it to be pure. Run it smoothly. APC, PDP, PYC, whatever political party in Akwa Ibom. I have said it is about respecting your own guidelines. It is not about respecting the guidelines imposed on you by the federal government or by INEC. No. You write your guidelines, you take them to INEC and say, this is what we have. INEC said, are you okay with this? You say yes. INEC collects it and registers. And so if I have written rules for myself, why is it difficult to obey my own rules?
Okay.
And so I'm calling on the political parties.
We are not saying right now that the political parties don't obey their rules. I'm sure that's not what we say.
No,
what
we are
saying
taking from the complaints.
Yes, what we are saying is that we saw some of the aspirants online. They came out as a team and complained that they had issues with the nominating process. Now, and we are imagining that this might move beyond just their complaint to insisting that the right thing be done. And in the process of trying to insist the right thing be done, notwithstanding whether the right thing was done, there will be a time lag, right? There will be a dragging. And what we have between now and INEC's deadline is a tight schedule, a very tight schedule.
It's a very tight schedule.
So where there's discontentment at the bottom of at the grassroots, that's the foundational level, when there's a drag, it affects the rest of the pie.
Certainly, it affects, and that's why political parties should be careful.
Okay.
They should just be careful. If not, they push themselves into an avoidable kind of...
So two things are now outstanding. One, that if that part of it is not sorted out, there'll be some issues.
There will certainly be issues because aggrieved members would want to go and ventilate their grievances. They may go to the headquarters of the political party and push for the redoing.
Let's assume that the headquarters would favor what's already existing, because ordinarily, if I were in the headquarters, I would favor what's existing. Well, reasons being that it's already a short time.
Well, it depends on the risk factor. You weigh the risk. If it is lesser risk for you to take the existing names, no problem. But if it is too dangerous for you to accept the existing name, if it's a case of postponing the evil day, then what do you do in that circumstance? You try to fix another date and then get the proper thing done within the time frame given, by INEC. Like I said, this thing happened in River State, very close to us. We share boundaries with River State and so on. And that's why I am very sure that River State this time around, APC in River State, PDP and other political parties will be very careful. In Akwa Ibom, political parties should also be very careful so that they don't run into situations that will make it impossible for them to field candidates. It will be very painful for any political party, a major political party at that, not to have candidates at the election.
So the Electoral Act 2022 stipulates a lot of tight guidelines and strict guidelines, which might include this be done not less on a day not later than so and so date.
Yes.
On a day not later than so and so date. And wait to the 3rd of June is a day not later than 365 days. Then there's a problem because it's not an INEC issue at this point. It's more or less the law.
INEC
so
has no problem.
INEC has stated clearly that when you do it, you don't perform what you're supposed to do between now and then. Then it is your cup of tea, and you drink it alone. The phone lines are now open. The numbers to call with 0. Okay, the phone line is now open, and I think you can call the number 09022231011. I repeat that number 09022231011. The alternative number should be 081-762-48565. Hello. Yeah, hello.
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening. Welcome
Yeah,
to the
Tony
show.
Tuk is my name. I call him from Iduran.
Tony Tukia, welcome to the show.
Yeah, Marissa, if you ask me, I'm also enjoying this watchdog game by the political party. Before now, it's usually the ruling party that will conduct their primary phase, so that the aftermath effect or the fallout from that primary, will go to other political parties for their presence to be noticed. But nowadays, it's just, the reverse. But I just wish that the advisors in this party should be able to do the needful by advising their party right so that they can participate in the election. The question I have for you guys this evening has to do with the issue of Goodluck Jonathan going back, for his political ambition. Constitutionally, I want to be able to really state clearly the conditional effect of this thing, because if you go by it, South South is still having 4 more years to go to complete the 8-year tenure. Must it be Goodluck Jonathan, or any other person can take that particular slot? Please. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, Tony Tuk. I think last week we hinted on that position of whether the President, Goodluck Jonathan, should go back to contest the presidential PC for APC. Well, you see, ordinarily he's a citizen of Nigeria and he has every right to contest the election if he wants to contest. However, there's a position of the law which is still in contention as to whether the new law that says if you had taken over from a president, either a late president or something, if you are taken over as vice president to president, that term counts for you. So he has not crossed that hurdle. It is neither here nor there.
Well, for me, he hasn't even declared.
Yeah, he has not declared. So I'm sure he's not very interested in contesting.
Well, I think so.
All right, let's take this call. Hello. 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 All right.
So he hasn't. You could look.
See, any party that wishes to field him
Yes.
will have itself to blame if at the end the Supreme Court says he wasn't qualified. I'm not sure anybody want to take that risk.
So in that case, I would look for a situation where the vice president should be from another political party, so that if he loses, the other political party takes over.
That's a very smart one.
All right.
I think Tony also talked about the fact that previously the ruling party takes the lead, they conduct their primaries, and where people fail to win from that platform, they cross over to other platforms. And I'm sure that's one of the mischief that the new Electoral Act tries to solve by saying everything must be done within almost simultaneously. So as you conduct yours today, the other conducts his tomorrow. So if I conduct my election to my primaries today and you are conducting yours tomorrow, and you lose in my party, before you go over, they bought their forms and their names were already submitted as those that are contesting for the primaries nomination. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah,
God.
this is Joseph Daniel calling from South Africa.
Joseph Daniel from South Africa. Go on,
Yeah, I
Joseph.
think Barrister Kemidim has done justice to that question of the issue of the Bush Congress that happened in PDP here in Akwa Ibom last weekend.
Okay.
But I want to ask, in a situation where our governor pushes through the list of his own people, because he came out after his own people at Ona and told the whole world that everything went on peacefully, doesn't know where people are protesting from, where they are coming from. If the case he pushes through, what option is now left to people like Onofiok Luke and Oba? What can they do to remedy the situation, knowing that all of them will lose if they go to court? That's number one. Number two, I want to ask something slightly different. Just about 4 days ago, the wife of the governor of Lagos State told people, and it was announced in the papers, that women are now accepting 1.5 million naira to have sex with dogs. Some people are doing that they shouldn't do it. It's bestiality. Now, who can be held responsible for that? Is it the giver or the person that is taking the money to have sex with a dog? Thank you.
Okay, you want to take which one?
Let me take the last question.
Okay.
Bestiality is criminal under the Nigerian criminal law. And therefore, anybody who engages in that's sleeping with an animal, okay, that person is guilty under the relevant sections of the criminal law. And therefore, because I saw a video of a young girl coming out to ask, what did I do? Did I kill someone? I didn't kill someone. This is what I just did. And I have the right to do so. I saw ignorance there because she doesn't understand what the law says in the circumstance. And I thank the Nigerian police for launching a manhunt for that very person, the lady, and also the owner of the dog. Now, all of them, will be made liable under the law for doing that kind of thing. I mean, the human body shouldn't be desecrated that way, irrespective of the economic situation in the country.
Well, even if the human body is desecrated that way, I think what's more important right now is the fact that it's against the law. And all of them, I think he wanted to know if the owner of the dog will be liable. Yes, he will be liable.
Certainly.
And I'm sure he wanted to ask a third question, if the dog will be liable. Yes, the dog will be liable. So, because it's like saying, I procured an adult to have intercourse with a minor. The person who procures and the person who does the act, they are all guilty of the
conspiracy and
the offense. So that's the position. Now, with respect to the first question, what will Onofiok and others do? Well, I cannot answer that question. I can only say that the governor, from his point of view, in his community, I'm sure everything went well. So he stated the right thing, the fact as he saw it. He's not omnipresent. If there are other people that complained, one could say that pockets of miscreants could do things. It could be in your own venue, nothing happened, but in other venues, things happen. And if you are going before the court wants to know that there was a widespread substantial misconduct, right? Not just the fact that where I was and where you were, where this other person was, it didn't work. You're not omnipresent, and the law recognizes that humans are not omnipresent. So that's just a position.
Yeah, a lot of people had come up on social media to say that it went very well in the areas, it was free and fair and all that. But other people also came up to see that it didn't go well, they did not even see materials and all that, and so on and so forth. But I think that whatever the truth is, the political party knows exactly what the truth is, whether it had released the original
So he asked
documents.
for the way forward for Onofiok and the other participants, the other hopefuls in the election. See, election is a game. You win
But has
and you
Onofiok
lose.
complained?
That's exactly what I want to say.
I've not heard Onofiok
It's
complain.
a game where you win or you lose. So what do you do if you lose? You lose gallantly. If you win happily, right? I don't see any way forward, basically. If you want to challenge it in court, you have a right to challenge in court. But you now have to muster out enough evidence to show that primaries wasn't conducted in line with the guidelines of the party. And how do you harness such evidence? Because it says he who alleges has a duty to prove.
Well, if it is that one, it is not impossible for anybody to prove what he saw, what happened in his place.
In your same place.
What happened.
Now you need the numbers now.
No, it's a matter of aggregating people and then they all talk in court and all that. But you see, my own is this. If this is an internal issue of that political party, let the political party find a way around it and then settle the issue, so that the issue doesn't haunt the political party. An internal issue, a family matter, can always be settled on a round table, so that anybody that loses will understand that he lost gallantly, and not that he lost because he was rigged out through an elementary process like this. I'm always advocating that Nigeria's democracy should mature beyond what it has always been. And that's why I think that the time has come for the electoral process to become digital, to become electronic. You see, you and I remember how it used to be in the Nigerian Bar Association when we talk about the national by-election. It was always very difficult. You know, a lot of people were not allowed to vote because it was a delegate kind of system. Some big wigs in the profession would say, this is who I want you to vote for, and so on. But electronic system was introduced into the election of the of the Nigerian Bar Association, and today there's no big wig. Nobody comes to say, I've been a lawyer for 50 years, this is the person I wanted to vote for. The person rather lobbies you because it's electronic. The accreditation process, the voting process, everything is done electronically. And so if electronic system is introduced, and it starts from the political parties themselves, to the extent that delegates are elected electronically, and the elections are done electronically, I am very sure that a lot of things, a lot of mischief, you know, would have been eliminated. Yes, we're still going to have, you know, hiccups here and there the first 2-3 experimental years, but with time, it's going to mature, and we'll be able to have the kind of system that if I stand the election and lose, I make it very easy to congratulate you. Remember what happened to Olumide Akwata? The person that came, the other man, Dr. somebody, Ajibade congratulated him even before the close of polls, because he had seen clearly that someone had defeated him meritoriously. And
the results were counting.
The results were counted.
All right, but I don't think you are too far from the mind of Nigerian populace, because ordinarily one would say the 2021 Electoral Act seeks to bring that to bear. Now we have card readers, and now results can be transmitted online. A whole lot of things are taking shape towards having eventual electronic voting system. Here, but yet again, I have to remind you that even in the Americas, elections are not conducted electronically. The numbers to call is still 0902222 31011. Repeat that number, 0902222 31011. The alternative number is 081 762 48565. 0781 762 48565. So, Ekemini, I had said we'll return back to the intention of the... All right, let's take the call. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening.
We are hearing you, sir. Go on.
This is Willie calling from you, sir.
All right, Willie. Go on, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Excellently. Hello, sir. We are hearing you excellently. Go on, sir. All right, we lost that. But if you try, you're not listening, you're not hearing us, please continue your option.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, my name is Gemma. I'm calling from New York.
Okay, go on, sir.
Okay, all I have to say is that the PDP will need to put its house in order, understanding the implication of court processes that may halt their primary elections, considering what happened in Zamfara and other states of the Federation in the previous election.
Okay.
That if they make the mistake of allowing the different stakeholders to proceed to court, and if they happen that the court stall the primary or bring some sort of a kind of validate what the the protesters or people who feel they were disenfranchised says, it might affect the entire election, and that will just give it an open, kind of open door for opposition to just come in and then take over, and then they will sit back and be crying, or maybe probably waiting for defection and other things. So the wise thing to do is to listen to all complaints. Like you said, sit like a big family and then sort out the issues. It's always good for you to present, probably have a candidate in mind, like the lawyer said, and you want someone to do your part and vote that candidate. But at the end of the day, it is the people that will suffer if the process is questioned or is deemed not to be transparent.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. It's a candid advice. However, I think our advice is for the PDP. There is also the APC, who has not had their foot on the ground, right?
No, but they will certainly have primaries also. They will certainly have delegates.
All right, let's take the call. Hello? Okay, we lost that.
For me, we're talking to all the political parties.
We're talking to all the political parties,
yes.
Because I think recently I noticed that there are 2 offices of the APC in Akwa Ibom State, and I wonder which of them is going to produce a candidate for us to vote.
So, but let me ask, did you not want the landlords of those property
to make money? Yeah,
I mean, it's a good thing. The landlord of APC,
your faction.
APC, a particular street, the landlord has made money. The landlord of the other one has also made money. For me, it's about economic growth for the state.
Yeah, but in the end, it's a confusion. Every citizen would want to vote. They want to follow a political party.
Where do you buy your form from?
Everybody has bought forms.
From where?
From wherever they have bought forms from. And at the end, the party would have to issue a list of their candidates, and people will start going to court. It's a dog fight.
It's unfortunate.
Let's take this call. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. Go on.
Oh, good evening, gentlemen in the studio. I give you people.
Thank you, sir.
Too.
Look, I've heard, if I'm not making mistake, concerning our political system. You people made mention of America. And my question concerning the issue for the last federal election in America. If the election was conducted properly electronically, then why did the other party the other candidate, presidential candidate, have to cause problem at a point trying to, they move to court? And another thing is that we will still continue to have issue of election problem in Nigeria, because in America, the people are not so much looking for a way of making money. Rather, they are looking for a way of making name. That is, to what they can do to the people of the country. But here in Nigeria, no matter the kind of promise that a party or a candidate is making, when he enters, the first thing is to look for a way to make so much money for himself and the family, even the extended family. Whereby leaving the citizenry, those people that they were even voting for him, stranded and complaining.
You didn't tell us your name,
so that is what I can...
you didn't tell us your name, sir.
Yes. Yeah, but okay, my name is Okun from Calabar. You know now.
Okun, Calabar. Yes, Okun is from Court of Appeal, Calabar. I know. All right, Okun, you're welcome to the show. Thank you very much.
He's a regular...
He is a regular caller, and he's at the Court of Appeal, Calabar. Yes. Okun, thank you for calling in. All right, so generally, I appreciate his position. We talked about America. What we said about the American election is that it's not fully electronic. Largely, they record the result are transmitted electronically, but the voting process is done manually, and the counting is equally done manual. Okay, let's take one last caller, probably. Hello.
Hello, please, my final call. Joseph Daniel from South Africa.
Okay.
Please, I really thank you for answering my second question. Maybe if the case ends up in court, the police had to take up that matter, the dog will be brought in as an evidence, or as an exhibit. Then secondly, please, I'm interested in what you say about this ASU strike. What can the students do?
Yeah, we are going there. The first question
back?
again, please. The first question.
No, yes. He's talking about bringing the dog to the court.
The dog. Okay, all right. No. All right, thank you very much. He's so concerned about his dog.
Yeah,
I'm sure he has a dog too.
Maybe once it brought as meat.
As meat. Joseph. All right. Well, I think it's necessary to have the dog as in evidence. If the dog can stay, you feed the dog and show the court, this is the dog that did the business, right?
Well, if it is possible to bring the dog, fine. But if it is not possible, there are other things that can be done to show that there was something like that with the dog.
I think it's very necessary that the dog is in court.
No, it's not. It's necessary, but
because
it's not compulsory.
No, you see, the offense is a dog did this. Which dog? This dog did that.
Yeah, there are video evidence to show to the court that this is what transpired.
And
so
you
that
also
you
might need to show that this dog did this, and this dog needs rehabilitation. This dog should be sent to the police dog school to be trained to be a regular dog, other than a regular dog.
No, the dog doesn't need to go to court. Okay, what happens if the dog dies? The case doesn't die.
No, we show the cops. This dog died of what? What killed the dog? Pneumonia or cold or
Tony,
HIV?
Let's go to legally speaking.
All right. We're back on legally speaking. So let's see. I think we were to talk about the students of the Nigerian NANS.
Yes, National Association of Nigerian
Students. They are going to start an all-out demonstration in the state, in Abuja, the state capital, the federal capital territory, to try to disrupt the national convention of all the parties, or where the presidential nominations will take place. Now, some people pandered around and said, okay, why don't you just move the national conventions to Lagos if they're in Abuja? But the new electoral act says it has to be at the state capital or the federal capital territory for the national elections. So it also affects the intention of the speculation that the primaries in the state will be moved to the barracks, the Ibawa barracks. Have you heard that speculation? Whether it's true or not, at least it's a speculation that is very, very healthy and rife on both the social media and the mainstream media. Now, you cannot move the primaries of the political parties outside the state capital. That's the position of the Electoral Act. So taking it to Ibawa is a no-no, it's a nullity. INEC would not go there, INEC would nullify it, and the court would agree with them, right?
Yeah, but why do you even take it away from the state capital to go to a place like Ibawa, which is far away from the state capital?
Even if it was in Uyo, the state capital,
yeah, so
why do you militarize it?
Yes, so what's the fear? I mean, you should be able, if things are done properly, then there shouldn't be any fear. We have Stadium 1, 2, and I think 3 in Uyo, the state capital, and therefore this should be done in any of the two. And I don't think that elections should be militarized. It's a civilian thing, and it should be done in the most civil manner, so as to be able to get the right crop of leaders to lead us. But you see, the problem is when the managers of the political parties refuse to do the right thing, and so they become afraid and feel that it can only be done at the army barracks and so on. But it shouldn't be so. Remember how we fought tooth and nail to send the military back to their barracks. We shouldn't do anything to go and flash it in their eyes once again that politics has become very lucrative and make them to begin to nurse.
You mean flashing is, are we not already flashing it in their eyes?
I don't think we're flashing it, because when we take it right into their barracks and you see a lot of things going on.
And they begin to decide, you say, okay, I want you, not you. So we begin to consult the army barracks.
Yes.
So that when we come, you have your main supporters.
It also, we should avoid that militarization of the electoral process. For me, there is nothing here. It's a very simple thing. Everybody cannot occupy one political office. It can only be occupied by one person but let that person be able to emerge through a democratic process. The Constitution from section 1 down to the end, the Constitution of the of the political parties, the guidelines and so on, they all speak in one voice, democratic process.
All right. So
if we have that, it's the best for Nigeria.
So the democratic process is where we're having issues now. We are trying to see how to beat the deadline of June 3rd. And we are looking at possibilities of jettisoning the June 3rd. And we have emphasized that you cannot jettison June 3rd because of the constitutional and the Electoral Act's provisions. That if you attempt to do that, the elections you're going to conduct will be null and void. The primaries you're conducting will be null and void because the timetable are very strict. Remember what happened once upon a time when we had the Election Petition Tribunal and the 180 days came and went, and the Supreme Court said, you've run out of time.
Yes, you've run out of time.
Even at the tribunal, even when you've, and that was a novel position. A lot of people didn't even avert their mind to it.
In fact, the Supreme Court, remember Justice Sentus Nweze,
he
called it the Rock of Gibraltar.
Yeah,
that nobody can move that rock.
Move that is a constitutional provision.
So, as a political party, when you run yourself and hit it on the Rock of Gibraltar, you know that it's not going to move.
Yeah.
You should be able to do the needful. There is enough time. Any political party that had prepared for the 2023 election should be able to do the needful, abide by the timelines, and then allow the process to flow.
You talk as if all things are equal. 1 month it ought to be enough time outside here, but 1 month is not enough time within here.
No, some of the problems are self-made.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
So you don't pity anybody who has created a problem for himself. I'm talking about an ideal situation where the electoral process is allowed to flow. There's no need adulterating that process. Let it flow like the river, and then nothing.
I think the bottom line is that I want to encourage a lot of political parties to be on the watch out, do their things well, because if heads roll, the 2 big heads could roll, and the 3rd head becomes the governor of Kwara State.
That's still something of luck.
All right, gentlemen, that is the size of Legally Speaking today. I have been with the Kemeni Udom, always a dependable ally. My name is Anthony Ebuk from Law Partners and Associates. And I believe everything you do from now till we meet again same time next week will be legal.
Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian Police Force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally